Hey everyone, we are the group 6 and today we are going to continue our discussion about our topic students with emotional and behavioral disorders. Last Friday, we already tackled our first subtopic, which is the effective ways to beat the bullies, and the other definition of emotional and behavioral disorders. So now I'm going to continue my topic, which is the definition of emotional and behavioral disorders. So this is another definition of emotional and behavioral disorders, which is from the Council for Children with Behavioral Disorders, or CBBD definition. The Council for Children with Behavioral Disorder, or CBD, is a special interest division of the Council for Exceptional Children. The CCBD is an advocacy group for children with emotional and behavioral disorders and uses the following characteristics to define student with emotional disturbance. So these are the following characteristics that the CCBD define for the students who have emotional disturbance. So first is hyperactivity, or short attention span, or impulsiveness. So the children with that hyperactive is also restless and easily get bored. They are the children that have trouble in sitting still or staying quiet when needed. They may also rush through things and make careless mistakes. They tend to climb, jump, or roughhouse when they shouldn't, especially when they are in a environment that they are not familiar of. They tend to be so hyperactive. Next is the aggression, or self-injurious behavior, acting out or fighting. Aggressive behavior, it is when a child reacts in a hostile way towards peers, siblings, or even on their parents. They tend to throw physical tantrums. This aggression behavior could cause the their peers or siblings or their parents hurt in a way that they hurt physically and even verbally. Next is withdrawal, or not interacting socially with others, excessive fear or anxiety. This withdrawal is whenever a child is afraid in socializing or interacting to the other people. Like in school, they tend to play by themselves only because they have fear or anxiety in public. Next is immaturity, or inappropriate crying, temper tantrums, poor coping skills. Immaturity actually is normal to young children. However, kids with behavioral disorders, tantrums, and have a inappropriate crying, which is different from the normal children. Next is learning difficulties. Academically performing below grade level. This is whenever a child is having a hard time in learning lessons, which is different from the regular student, or the students with the same age as them. So next we have here a video that shows a child that shows a aggressive behavior.
Meet Chris and Nikki and their two children, 15-month-old Mackenzie and big brother Cameron, who is 4. Cameron's violent outbursts and relentless tantrums are pushing this household to the brink.
I do dread getting up in the morning. I don't know what to do with it. He controls the whole family. When Cameron kicks off, he can bite, kick, spit, hit, slam doors, throw things around and be quite
physically have to rip him off the banisters.
Chris's answer is to shut Cameron in his room.
But we can be stuck up there for an hour and still have the same behaviour. He'll kick and he'll scream and he'll bang the door. You'll then be in a tug of war on the door with a 4-year-old child.
So yes, I think that's enough for you to see the aggressive behavior of this child named Cameron. So this child have aggressive behavior in which he hurt physically his parents. So the Council for Children with Behavioral Disorders (CCB) definition also points to general categories of psychological disorders, including schizophrenia, spectrum disorder, bipolar disorder, depressive disorder, anxiety disorders, obsessive compulsive disorders, eating disorders, and disruptive impulse control and conduct disorders as causes of this disability category, meaning behavioral disorders can be more serious since it may cause several disorders that may include the schizophrenia and others. So the additional factors are considered in assessing a child who is suspected to be emotionally disturbed. First is the rate and the second one is the latency. So first, rate refers to the frequency of occurrence of behavior per standard unit of time, and the latency, which refers to the time that between the opportunity to respond and the beginning of the behavior. So that ends my topic, the subtopic, the definitions of the behavior and the emotional and behavioral disorders.
Hi, my name is Ferdinand C. Espiritu Jr., and I will discuss about the classification of emotional behavioral disorder. The classification of emotional behavioral and disorder fall under four systems of classification. First is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorder or DSM. Second is the statistical classification. The third is the classification derived from direct observation and measurement. The fourth is the classification based on the degree of severity of the disorder. So let's let's discuss about the first one. The first one, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual Disorder or DSM. This DSM is an elaborate clinical classification system consisting of 230 separate diagnostic categories or labels to identify the various types of disorder as observed by psychiatrists, psychologists, mental health personnel, and other clinicians in their regular practices. The American Psychiatric Association in 1994, cited by Zions in 2002, enumerates three criteria that must be met in determining the presence of emotional and behavioral disorder, particularly among adults. The person, the number one, the person experiences the significant pain or distress, an inability to work or play, an increased risk of death, or a loss of freedom in important areas of life, like feeling happiness or enjoyment. Number two, the source of the problem lies within the person due to biological factors, learned habits, or mental processes. It's not simply a normal response to specific life events such as death of a loved one. They don't have they also don't have the feelings of sympathy and empathy. Third, the problem is not a deliberate reaction to to conditions such as poverty, prejudice, government policies, or other conflicts with societies. Sometimes the problem is only within their imaginations. Quay and his colleagues collected a wide range of data on hundreds of children with emotional and behavioral disorders. They asked parents and teachers to accomplish rating, rate, rating forms and questionnaires on children's behavior and life histories. A significant finding in study showed that the above cluster of behavior appear in groups rather than singly. Thus, there is a higher incidence of conduct disorder as child social anxiety, immaturity, or social aggression. The statistical analysis of data revealed four clusters of traits and behavior among children with emotional and behavior disorders. The first one, the conduct disorder, is characterized by disobedience, being disrupted, getting into fights, being noisy, and temper tantrum. It is when a person has an antisocial behavior, he or she may disregard the basic social standards and rules.
Good evening. My topic is about etiological factors and causes of emotional and behavioral disorders. So first, we define etiological. Etiological refers to the underlying causes or origins of a particular condition or disorder. There are two types, or there are two factors in etiology or causes of emotional and behavioral disorder. The first is biological factors. Authorities believe that all children are born with biologically determined temperament. The inborn temperament may not directly cause a behavior problem to occur but may predispose the child to behavior disturbances. Certain events that easygoing children can handle may be problematic to other children with difficulties temperament. So sabi dito, ang biological factor daw ay nakaka-affect sa emotional and behavioral disorders. Paano nila ito nasabi? Some example of biological factors are genetics. Paano natin masasabi na ang genetics ay nakaka-apekto sa emotional and behavioral disorder ng isang bata or ng isang tao? Sabi dito, sa genetics ay predisposition can increase the likelihood of developing disorders such as depression, anxiety, or bipolar disorder. Meaning to say, sa genetics, dito natin, or dito, kadalasan, nag-i-increase ang pag-develop ng disorder such as depression sa isang bata, anxiety, or bipolar disorder. The next is brain structure and function. Sa biological po ito dito, nakapaloob ang abnormalities or disruption in brain development, structure or function, particularly in areas related to emotion regulation, can contribute to emotional and behavioral disorder. The next is hormonal imbalances. Dito na, hormonal is the fluctuations or imbalances in hormone levels, such as during puberty or in conditions like thyroid disorders, can impact mood and behavior. The prenatal and perinatal factors. This include maternal stress or nung nung nagbubuntis ang isang nanay ay na-stress siya. So it complicate during pregnancy or childbirth, can affect brain development and increase the risk of emotional and behavioral difficulties later in life. The next is medical condition such as epilepsy, traumatic brain injury, or neurodevelopmental disorder like autism spectrum disorder. So, sa biological factors po, it includes predisposing factor, or yung sinasabi ko po dito is refer to the tendencies and risk to development emotional disturbances. Example po is physical illness. Yan po yung mga hindi po na mga nadidevelop. The shyness, the hyperactivity behavior that may come about as a result of heredity. The next is the precipitating factors, or it refers to specific incident that may trigger the display or emotional disturbances. So, sa ano po ito? Ang example po nito is ang death in the family, the abandonment, the separation of parents, and other causes situations. The last one is sustaining factors. There are factors that prolong the course of illness. So the next, tapos na po tayo sa biological. When we say biological, dun po pumapasok ang or nakapaloob po dun ang genetics, the brain structure and function, the hormonal imbalances, the prenatal and perinatal factors, the medical conditions, the predisposing factor, the precipitating factor, and the sustaining factors. So the next factors that can be considered causes of emotional and behavioral disorder are or is environmental factors. So sa environmental factors, ito po siya. The first is home and family influences. Study present pieces of evidence in the correlation between parent-child interaction patterns and the development of positive and normal behavioral characteristic in the child. The relationship that a child has with the parents during the early year is critical to the way he learns to behave. Frequent parental involvement in providing for the child's physical or psychological need is a significant factor in developing a healthy self-concept. The parents create situation in a loving and caring atmosphere to meet those needs and teach their children about norms of conduct and acceptable behavior. attention, and reinforcement of positive behavior, as well as appropriate discipline for negative behavior in an atmosphere of love and caring help shape desirable patterns of behavior. So sabi dito, ang home and family influences is dito po pumapasok ang parenting. Minsan din po sa loob po ng bahay is nagkakaroon po ng conflict, the neglect, and abuse of the family members. Meaning to say po, sa parenting makikita kung gaano katatag ang isang bata. And sinasabi po dito na ang isang bata ay kapag suportado ng kanyang magulang, hindi ito makakaranas ng emotional and behavioral disorder. But if ang pamilya or sa loob ng bahay ay nag-aaway-away, nagkakaroon ng conflict, merong abuse na nangyayari, doon po or doon maapektuhan ang emotional and behavioral disorder. Doon nagkakaroon ng behavioral disorder ang isang bata based sa kanyang pamilya, kung ano man ang meron ng pamilya niya. Kapag happy ang pamilya, so hindi po magkakaroon ng emotional disorder or behavioral disturbances. Yan po siya. And sinasabi din po na sa loob ng bahay or ang bahay, ang pinakaunang or small society, dito minumuod ang pagkatao ng isang bata or ng isang tao. So, dapat dito rin mararanasan ng isang bata na siya ay safe. Or kung mayroon man siyang dinadamdam, ay agad-agad niya itong masasabi sa kanyang magulang o sa kanyang pamilya. The next environmental factor is the school experiences. There are experiences in school where children spend a large part of the day. They can precipitate the occurrence of behavior problems. A child who gets all the attention of home suddenly finds himself competing for the teacher's attention to other children. There are class rules to obey, unlike at home, where he or she can do as he or she pleases. It is common for bigger classmates to bully the small ones, leading to fights and quarrels. So, dito sa school, dito natin makakasalamuha or dito mababanggit ang peer relationship. Sometimes, negative experiences with peers such as bullying or social rejection can impact self-esteem and contribute to the development of disorder like anxiety or depression. So, sinasabi dyan na ang mga taong kakasama mo, like for example sa school, is malaki ang naiambag sa inyong katauhan. Sapagkat kung bully ang nakakasama mo sa loob ng school or nire-ready ka sa school, magkakaroon ka ng or magiging mahiyain ka, low self-esteem, and magiging emosyon ka. Yun ang ibig sabihin dito sa social experiences. The peer relationship, the school environment, meaning po nito, ano ka na, nai-stress ka sa academic, nabubuli, napipressure ka sa mga kasamahan mo sapagkat hindi ka masyado nakakasabay sa mga ginagawa nila or sa mga activity, or bumagsak ka sa academic. Yun yung mga halimbawa. So, sana po ay merong natutunan sa aking report about etiological factors and causes of emotional and behavioral disorders. In summary po, ito yung mga factors na nakakaapekto sa emotional and behavioral disorders. So, the factors are biological factors and environmental factors. Sa biological factors, dyan yung mga genetics, mga medication, the paternal factors, dyan po yun. Sa environmental factors naman, ang family, the peers, the school influences. And kapag nangingibabaw ang care and love, understanding sa isang bata or sa loob ng bahay, hindi siya kailanman magkakaroon ng emotional and behavioral disorder. So, bilang future educators, sana ay ma-guide natin ang mga bata upang hindi sila makaranas ng ganitong disorders. Kailangan lang naman nila ng care and understanding and the love to boost their self-esteem and avoid bullying. Thank you for listening.
I'm Chen Vincent Chocolas Lazareno, PTPTED 1A, and I will discuss characteristics of children and youth with emotional and behavioral disorders. Antisocial behavior. These children manifest consistent and frequent disordered patterns of behavior that violate the rules and regulation at home, the laws of community and the country. Willingness to commit rule infraction, defiance to adult authority, and violation of the social norms and mores of society. So, ang mga batang may antisocial behavior ay madalas nagpapakita ng halos pare-parehas lang lamang na pattern at hindi maayos na pag-uugali. Madalas nag-violate ng mga rules sa loob man o sa labas ng tahanan. American Psychiatric Association 2000 feature aggressive forms of behavior towards people and animals, destruction of property, deceitfulness, theft, and serious violation of rules. In school settings, antisocial behavior and conduct disorders are categorized as social maladjustment. So ito yung mga behavior na base sa American Psychiatric Association ng 2000. Ang destruction of property, deceitfulness, theft, at seryosong pagbayad sa mga rules or paglabag sa mga panuntunan. And in addition to that, antisocial behavior and conduct disorders ay categorized bilang social maladjustment. Social maladjustment ay ang persistent pattern of violating social norms or those actions that I have mentioned a while ago. So, ang antisocial behavior ay may 5 components. One, defacing school property or yung vandal or vandalism, pagsira sa mga bagay-bagay or windows, kung ano na pa, creating assault or abuse towards students and school authorities and property. Ito yung pag-abuse or pagsira sa mga gamit. 3. Wearing or displaying unacceptable attire and grooming, o yung pagsuot sa mga di angkop na pananamit or grooming, ang pag-commit ng sexual offense for engaging in activities that interfere with academic performance. Ito yung pag-gimmick, hang out with your friends, or pag-ginom or skip, violate school legal norms and policies, hindi pagrespeto sa mga school head or teachers. Defacing, isa na rin yun. Oppositional defiant disorder or ODD. So children with ODD are uncooperative and hostile towards people around him. So ito yung mga sintomas niya. Often loses one temper. So yung pag nagagalit sila, sumisigaw na lang, nawawala na sila ng control sa sarili nila. So often argues, defies, or refuses to comply with adults' requests or rules. Ito yung pating lumalaban, nakikipagtalo, hindi rin nag-comply. Often deliberately annoys people, nandiyan mang inis, often blames others for one's mistakes or behavior, naninisi, often touchers or easily annoyed by others, often angry and resentful, often spiteful and vindictive, nagmamakto at parating gumaganti. Number 3, externalizing and internalizing behavior disorders. Externalizing, violate the rules and norms of society and annoy and disturb other people. The common example are out of seat behavior, practice lang. Ito, hindi mapakali, pwede ganyan. Making unnecessary noise, truancy, paglalaro, at gumagawa ng mga unnecessary noise. Constant talking to self and others, disobedience, inattention, persistent lying, constant blaming of others. Or on the other hand, too little social interaction of children with internalizing behavioral disorders creates serious impediment to their development. They manifest with shown behavior, lack social skills, they often daydream, tend to be fearful of things and events without reasons, and may experience serious bouts of depression. Internalizing behavioral disorders environmental or emotional conflicts that may go unnoticed. So yung internalizing, ito yung meron silang poor coping skills, lack of social skills, mas nahirap sila makipag-socialize or madalas sila ito na nadi-depress, may anxiety or mga suicidal. At madalas sa internalizing sila yung babae ang nagkakaroon na kasalungat naman sa externalizing na madalas lalaki naman ang nagkakaroon. Aggressive and violent behavior. Aggression refers to acts that are abusive, that severely interfere with the activities of other people or objects and events in the environment. There are two types of aggression, milder one and severe. Sa milder forms of aggression, may teasing, crowding around, tattling, and bullying. Sa severe naman, may physical attack, destruction, property, and cruelty. Delinquency. So, delinquency, behavioral disorder, legal term that refers to the criminal offenses committed by an adolescent. Criminal records start at an early age, usually by age 12. The adolescents commit more serious offenses and continue a pattern of anti-social behavior until adulthood. Oftentimes, they are beyond the control of their parents, family, and friends. Many offenses are brought to court, but others remain unreported and unknown. Sa delinquency, ito yung crime na commit ng mostly kabataan, tapos isang madalas hindi na sila kontrolado ng magulang nila, tapos marami rin kaso na nadala man sa court pero hindi naman na kakasuhan dahil sa underage pa ang gumawa ng kaso. Example of delinquent acts and the crimes they can lead to include juvenile offenses and crime they committed, breaking in and destroying private property, attempted burglary, stealing, shoplifting, crime ay robbery and theft. 2. Brutality, beating a person until he or she is black and blue, burning a house or a person, shooting a person. So, ang civil crime ay attempted homicide, murder, or arson. Lascivious acts touching the private parts of a person, attempted rape, especially of children, those with disabilities. So, ang civil crime ay rape, sexual harassment. 4. Early smoking and drinking, experimenting habituation to prohibited drugs. Ang crime, committing crimes under the influence of liquor, drugs, drug dependency, drug pushing, carrying deadly weapons, shooting incidents, murder. 5. Carrying a knife, I speak, carrying deadly weapons. 6. Disorderly conduct. Ang crime, shooting incidents, and murder. Juvenile delinquent, when a young person is brought to court for committing certain offenses, charged and guilty. Almost half of all juvenile delinquents are recidivists or repeat offenders who go in and out of jail. Sila yung juvenile delinquents na pabalik-balik na lang sa kulungan.
Ang pinaka-goal nitong batas na ito ay rehabilitation ng mga batang magkaroon ng problema sa batas at hindi na nila uulitin yon, at sa ibang mga bata na hindi talaga sila magkaroon ng conflict sa ating batas. So, meron siyang prevention at rehabilitation aspect, at the same time, accountability para sa mga nagawa nilang pagkakamali. Yung council naman ay na-establish yan ng RA 9344, ito ring Juvenile Justice and Welfare Act. Bakit siya in-establish? Kasi isa siyang interagency body. Gobyerno siya to ensure the implementation of the law, to monitor the implementation of the law, at kailangan nagko-coordinate sila. Depende kung gaano kabigat yung kasalanan nila, depende kung anong edad nila, at depende din kung nasa best interest nila. Ang una talagang gagawin, dapat sa magulang yun o ibabalik mo sa komunidad, pero kailangan magkaroon tayo ng programa sa komunidad. Pero kung masyadong grave yung offense at nasa best interest ng bata na hindi siya dapat ibalik dun sa komunidad na yun dahil hindi makakabuti sa kanya at para dun sa mga biktima o yung mga kamag-anak ng biktima, maaari siyang dalhin sa institution. Kung meron siyang kaso, dinadala po natin siya sa Bahay Pag-asa. So, nandoon siya para mag-undergo ng rehabilitation program niya habang tumatakbo yung kaso. Ang mga 12 to 15 years old, bawal po silang kasuhan. Pero minsan, dahil sa ating batas, maaari silang dalhin sa Bahay Pag-asa para i-institutionalize. Yung una, kung sila ay nagkasala nga, hindi sila pa-file ng kaso, pero nasa best interest nila na dapat ilagay na lang sila doon. So, gagawa ng assessment itong ating social workers at titingnan, mababalik mo ba ito sa magulang o hindi? What if yung magulang mismo ang nag-utos sa kanila, hindi mo talaga definitely ibabalik yun. O kaya, kahit hindi yung magulang nag-utos, yung komunidad nila napakagulo, hindi mo na ibabalik yun. So, ilalagay mo sa institutions. Pwedeng sa Bahay Pag-asa. Yung pangalawa, kung sila ay between over 12, but 15 and below, at nag-commit sila ng serious crimes. Ano yung serious crimes? Nakalista yun sa batas natin. Parricide, murder, homicide, carnapping, tapos nagkaroon ng homicide, rape with robbery, dangerous drugs acts, yung mga ganon, maaari din silang ilagay sa Bahay Pag-asa. At yung pangatlo, pagpaulit-ulit sila ng kahit anong klaseng offense yung nagawa nila, pero paulit-ulit, tapos nag-undergo na sila ng community program, pero hindi pa rin sila nagbabago, maaari din silang ilagay sa Bahay Pag-asa.
Sabi dito, ang Republic Act 9344 o Juvenile Act ay may ilang aspeto. Ito ay yung prevention, rehabilitation, and accountability. Pero ito tumutulong sa kanila at nakadepende naman ang pagdadala sa kanila sa kung saan man sila mas bagay sa bigat or edad nila, pwedeng ibalik sila sa magulang nila or dalhin na lang sila sa Bahay Pag-asa. Ayun ay ilan lamang sa mga sakop nito. Ito yun. Ito na ako sa identification and assessment. Screening. It is done to eliminate children who do not have behavioral problems. The children who show the early signs or who seems to be at risk for developing emotional and behavioral disorders are identified. The case that are found to be beyond the help of the school and home authorities are referred to professional clinicians for assessment. So those who are showing signs are at risk for developing emotional and for developing emotional and behavioral disorder will be identified through evaluation, assessment, or tawag natin na screening. Yung mga kaso naman na hindi na kaya ng school facilitator or mga school or home authorities ay inirefer na sa mga professionals. Assessment procedures. The identification of very young children with emotional and behavioral disorders is more difficult than that of the older ones. So, adults are better at handling emotions than children. Kasi children do not have that skill to know what they are doing. And they can't find words to express themselves well and how to cope with it. Mas malawak ang eksperyensya at ang mga children ay nasa maturation process pa. Kaya iba-ibang behavior nila at mood, unlike sa adult or 20 to 30 above. The behavior patterns of younger children are usually unstable due to maturation process itself. Assessment procedures. In the same manner that children with the other forms of disabilities are assessed, the Special Education Division of the Bureau of Elementary School Department of Education has developed assessment materials for this particular type of children. So, ang binabanggit nila na mga na-develop na assessment materials para sa mga mga children with special needs ay yung books or module, braille, ito na audio books at iba pa. Referral intervention consists of teacher nomination, parent and peer nomination to the use of checklists of behavior and learning characteristics at home, in school, and other typical environments. The variety of assessment materials are used in the multi-factor evaluation that covers achievement and intelligence tests, social development, and personality tests. Bautista developed a behavior checklist for the identification of pupils with hyperactivity based on the time and frequency rates of temper outbursts, restlessness, shifting from one task to another, bullying and teasing, fidgeting, oversensitivity, and other related behavior. Regona 2002 developed an aggression and inventory scale for adolescents as measure. Hostility is a vigor and destructiveness, antisocial tendencies, and dominance. Banas 2003 developed the Tavian behavior tendency scale that determines the range as manifested in acts such as disfacing school property, assaulting or abusing students and school authorities, wearing or displaying unacceptable attire, and grooming, engaging in activities that interfere with academic performance and achievements, violate normal legal norms and policies na sabi ko siya kanina. Ibalik ko lang ng konti. Sa temper outburst, ito yung biglaang sumisigaw, walan sila ng kontrol sa sarili nila, restlessness, yung pagiging hindi mapakali, tapos shifting from one task to another, yung may ginagawa ka ba, tapos mag-shift na agad siya, magpapalit na siya ng ginagawa maski hindi pa niya natatapos yun. Bullying and teasing, fidgeting, oversensitivity, madali silang nababothered, upset, was offended, na-offend. Hostility, yung galit, disobedience, destructiveness, ayun lang, salamat.
Good day, everyone. My name is Efrain D. Cortez, and I am the one who will discuss the types of emotional and behavioral disorders. So, first is the adjustment disorder. This disorder is the one that may have witnessed a stressful event or had a big change in their normal lifestyle. This could then have an adverse reaction on their behavior, and the child may become prone to truancy, vandalism, or fighting. The types of stress that can trigger an adjustment disorder or stress response includes ending of a relationship or marriage, death of a loved one, being a victim of a crime, having an accident, undergoing a major life change, such as getting married, having a baby, or retiring from a job, living through a disaster such as fire, flood, or hurricane. These are the stresses that could trigger the adjustment disorder. Adjustment disorder also are excessive reactions to stress that involve negative thoughts, strong emotion, and changes in behavior. The reaction to a stressful change or event is such more intense than would typically be expected. So, this can cause a lot of problems in getting along with others by having this disorder. Next is the anxiety disorder. Anxiety disorder is the one that may be prone to frequent panic attacks. The child may also display inappropriate emotional responses, such as outbursts of laughter or crying out of control. These are the physical and emotional symptoms of anxiety disorder. The scolophobia, separation anxiety, fear of new foods, and generalized anxiety disorder. Anxiety disorder is also a disorder that we experience occasionally. That is also sometimes a normal part of our life. However, people with anxiety disorders frequently have intense, excessive, and persistent worry and fear about everyday situation. Often, anxiety disorders involve repeated episodes of sudden feelings of intense anxiety and fear of a terror. Next is the obsessive compulsive disorder, also called as OCD. This is the one that displays anxiety through recurrent and persistent obsession or compulsion. Behaviors may include repetitive hand washing, praying, counting, and repeating words silently. The causes of obsessive compulsive disorders are first, genetic, stress, life-changing events, changes in the brain, which includes the imbalance of serotonin in the brain, personality like being perfectionist and neat freaks, also the thinking mode of like the overthinkers. Obsessive compulsive disorder features a pattern of unwanted thoughts and fears known as obsession. These obsessions could lead you to do repetitive behaviors, also called as compulsion. As I've said earlier, the following Examples of compulsions is the repetitive hand washing, praying, counting, and repeating words silently. These obsessions and compulsion get in the way of daily activities and cause a lot of distress. Next is the attention deficit or hyperactivity disorder. This is a condition that impairs an individual's ability to properly focus and to control impulsive behaviors, or it may make the person overactive. Center for Disease Control and Production. According to the Webster Medical Center at Ohio State University, males are 2 to 3 times more likely than females to get GAJ. So, males are the one who is very possible to have an ADHD than female. This is a behavioral disorder also that typically begins in childhood and is characterized by short attention span or having inattention from their family, also an inability to become and stay still, and also poor impulsive control. Some people with ADHD have problems with only inattention or with hyperactivity and impulsivity, but most have problems related to all three features. In people with ADHD, the characteristic behaviors are frequent and severe enough to interfere with activities of daily living, such as school, work, and relationships with the other people. Next is the oppositional defiant disorder. This is characterized by hostile, irritable, and uncooperative attitudes in children, according to the Children's Mental Health in Ontario. The characteristics of the children with oppositional defiant disorder are being persistent refusal to comply with instructions or rules, meaning they are having a hard. The children that have oppositional defiant disorder could possibly had a hard time in following simple instructions and rules. The stubbornness to compromise with adults or peers, failing to accept responsibility, and easily annoyed, angered, or irritated. This also includes a frequent and ongoing pattern of anger, irritability, arguing, and defiance toward parents and other authority figures. Next is the post-traumatic stress disorder. This disorder is caused by an exposure to an extremely traumatic event or series of events in a child's life, or witnessing or learning about a death or injury to someone close to the child. Like a month after exposure to the stressful event, children's responses include intense fear, difficulty falling asleep, nightmares, numbing of general responsiveness, or mainly skills like toilet training. And also the expressive language, which is called the mutism. Post-traumatic stress disorder is also called as PTSD, which is a mental health condition that's triggered by a terrifying event, either experiencing it or witnessing it. Symptoms may include flashbacks, nightmares, and severe anxiety, as well as uncontrollable thoughts about the events. Next is the conduct disorder. Conduct disorder is a repetitive and persistent pattern of behavior in which the basic rights of other or major age appropriate social norms or rules are violated. The characteristic of a person that has conduct disorder is the parental objections. Bully parental objections mean they are not following their parents. Bully or threaten others. Physically cruel to animal and people. Have the people that have conduct disorder might be associated with an early onset of sexual behavior, drinking, smoking, and reckless and risk taking acts. This is also a behavioral emotional disorder that presents as disruptive and violent behavior that usually occur during childhood or adolescence. Next is the anorexia nervosa. Anorexia nervosa is an eating disorder characterized by an abnormally low body weight, an intense fear of gaining weight, and a distorted perception of weight. People with anorexia place a high value on controlling their weight and shape, using extreme efforts that show signs like extreme low body weight, dry skin, hair loss, depressive symptoms, constipation, and low blood pressure. These people that have anorexia nervosa tend to have different perspective about them. Like the girl in the picture, she is actually underweight. However, she thinks that she is overweight. That's why it causes an extreme low body weight. Next is bulimia nervosa. Bulimia nervosa, same as the anorexia nervosa, it is an eating disorder characterized by binge eating, followed by methods to avoid gain weight. It is a serious, potentially life-threatening eating disorder since people with bulimia binge eat. This means people feel like they've lost control over their eating. They eat large amounts of food in one sitting. This often occurs in secret, and they often feel very guilty that they tend to do things for them to prevent weight gain. Essentially, features are binge eating, then compensatory methods to prevent weight gain. The symptoms of bulimia nervosa is loss of menstruation, fatigue or muscle weakness, gastrointestinal problems, or intolerance of cold weather. Next is the bipolar disorder, also known as manic depressive illness. It is a brain disorder that causes unusual shifts in mood, energy, activity, and the ability to carry out day-to-day tasks. It is characterized by alternating behavior, the extremes of emotions. It is a mental health condition that causes extreme mood swings that include emotional highs. When you become depressed, you may feel sad or hopeless and lose interest or pleasure in the most activities that are the common causes people having a bipolar disorder. Lastly is the schizophrenia, which is the most serious disorder that is caused by emotional behavioral disorder. It is a serious emotional disorder in which a schizophrenic person may lose touch with reality that would lead to changes in personality. Symptoms are the hallucinations and delusions, disorganized speech, or catatonic behavior. Have people with schizophrenia is losing their touch with reality, seeing or hearing things that don't exist, holding irrational and unfounded belief, and of course act strangely. Schizophrenia may result in some combination of hallucination, delusions, and extremely disordered thinking and behavior that impairs daily functioning and can be disabling. Schizophrenia involves a range of problems in thinking or cognition, and also it is caused sometimes by genetics, brain chemistry, and environmental distraction. And that will be all to my topic, the types of emotional and behavioral disorder.
So now let's proceed to the best practices at school. There are many behavioral strategies to help students with EBD or emotional behavioral disorder. This includes keeping class rules and activities simple and very clear, rewarding positive behaviors, allowing many breaks and better work time, being fair about treatment, and motivating students. Let's proceed to the educational approaches. In this practice, special educators, therapists, and psychologists to combine certain features of the conceptual model, develop an electric approaches in the developing a program for a particular groups or individual students. An electric approaches ay gagawa sila ng mga drawing ideas or styles na pwede ipa-analysis sa mga bata na with EBD. Next is the applied behavioral analysis. This regular teachers and the special education teacher works collaboratively in developing an individualized educational plan for EE. The applied behavioral analysis is the regular teachers and the special education teachers work collaboratively in developing an individualized education plan or IEP. It is the aim to decrease the undesirable and maladaptive behavior and increase the accuracy of desirable behavior. Ang aim nito ay para mabawasan ang mga hindi kanais-nais na ginagawa ng bata ang mga maladaptive behavior or pag yung mga self-harm ng mga estudyante yun. And the behavioral theory and the model of the personality is applied. Strategies are employed to help the children to learn new, appropriate responses and eliminate the appropriate ones. Next is the teaching social skills. Stephens in 1992 has developed a curriculum that covers 132 specific social skills for school-aged children grouped into 30 subcategories under the four major areas. The first one is the self-regulative behavior, accepting the consequences, ethical behavior, expressing feelings and positive attitude toward health. They accept kung ano mga nangyayari sa paligid nila, and the ethical behavior yung mga um, nagiging honest, etc. Expressing their feelings. Natututo sila mag-express ng feelings and the positive attitude towards self. Task-related behavior. Attending behavior, following direction, and performing before others, and the quality of work. Next, the environmental behavior. Natututo sila to care the environment and dealing with emergencies and the lunchroom behavior. And their personal behavior, it's the accepting of the authority, so nakagain sila ng attention and natututo din silang tumulong sa ibang tao, making conversation. Next is the alternative responses. Knapsack in 1992 cited in the Hayward in 2003, developing the alternative responses strategy and training for students with the behavioral problems to handle or diffuse the provocative incidents. So si Napsagnois developed ng alternative responses strategy and he trained the four students with the behavioral problems. Eh, so kinita niya kung ma-handle ba nito or mag-diffuse ang provocative incidents. Instruction consisted of individualized videotaping modeling or behavioral rehearsals. The treatment decreased the frequency of aggressive acts in the first students across the several settings. So, ang ginawa ni Napsik na pag-develop ng alternative response strategies na tulong upang ma-decrease ang mga aggressive acts ng apat na students and concurrent decrease the number of the provoking incidents. So, mas nabawasan din ang mga number ng provoking incidents ng apat na estudyante na may behavioral problems. Next is the teaching self-management skills from birth to adolescence. So, sa teaching self-management skill is malalaman natin ang mga dapat gawin ng bata from sa mula sa pagka-baby and hanggang sa pag-binata. It aims to develop the students with behavioral problems to have some control over their own behaviors and over their environment. So, natututo ang mga from this teaching self-management skills, aim nito na matuto ang bata sa pagkontrol ng kanilang sarili or ng kanilang behaviors and over their environment. This is special education teacher plays the roles of the external control agents who teaches appropriate behaviors in the resource room that the students needs to apply in appropriate setting. And the effective ways of handling the situation are the learned and practiced good work and reinforced with the physical and the social reward. So, pinaka-effective ways para ma-handle itong sitwasyon na ito ay matuto and mag-practice with the good work is reinforced with the physical at mabigyan ng mga physical rewards and social rewards. For example, yung mga bibigyan mo ng ang mga bata ng candies or etc. And social rewards naman yung mga verbal says. Next is the disruptive behavior decrease and academic achievement increase. So, ang mga disruptive behavioral is nababawasan yung mga academic achievements nila mas lalong tumataas. And the great gear of this strategy is the fact that the student with emotional and behavioral problems learn to be responsible for their negative behaviors and they learn self-direction in managing their social and academic award. Ang malaking naitutulong ng teaching self-management is yung na-handle ng student yung pagiging responsible nila sa negative behaviors and at mas natututo sila lalo and nama-manage ang social and academic nagkakaroon ng social and academic awards. So let's proceed to the behavioral management technique. Intervention and the procedures that minimize behavioral problems. Ecological intervention is built on the principle that behaviors problem exist within the child environment where a constant global interaction between the child and the environmental occurs. So kanina, nagpo-focus lang tayo sa mga behaviorals ng bata. Ngayon is kasama na yung environmental and the global interaction nila. So, an intervention procedure that focus in the person that and the person and the environment that is developed and applied to the problematic solving situation. So, yung mas natututo ito na bata sa kanilang environment and kung paano nila i-solve ang mga problematic situation nila. Paano nila i-handle ito. Now, the positive reinforcement. The universally accepted intervention designed to increase the display of desirable behaviors and to decrease or reduce the opportunity for the negative view. So, universally, na mas napapaganda nila yung mga display of their desirable behavior and they reduce the opportunity for the negative view. And sa negative reinforcement, it involves the removal of the negative stimulus contingent upon the desired behavior. So this involves yung mga negative stimulus na or something that can cause trouble among upon the desired behaviors, and extension is useful in the reducing the number and intensity of duration of undesirable behavior. So next is the role settings. The role settings is an easy and the effective way to manage behavior in the classroom. Um, it's the few, simple, and realistic and easy to follow rules that set together with the consequences if they are followed or violated. Ang mga teacher ay gagawa ng mga simple and realistic na rules together with the consequences kung nasusunod ba nila ito or nababiolate nila. Next is the intervention procedures that minimize behavioral problems. Pacing the lessons and using a variety of activities are simple yet effective ways of managing behavior. The teachers can model the desired behavior without a verbal cues. So, gaya ng sinabi ko kanina, um, they need um, to keep the class rules, which is activities are simple and very clear. Um, Here are the mga kailangan ng teachers para sa kanilang estudyante. The cognitive strategy, the self-monitoring, the self-instruction, self-control strategies are utilized self-management cognitive strategies and the cognitive model called the information processing model and the emphasis strategies for memory storage, retrieval, and the metacognition. And that's end of our report. Thank you very much po. Bye-bye.